Hey, Kelly, and hey, everybody out there. Welcome to Life Talk with Janice and Kelly. And
Hello.
today we're talking about what we often tell our clients.
Yes.
So this one is about taking care of yourself first.
Yes. 'Cause
Okay.
I've had that conversation or many conversations about this, about how we were raised and how putting everyone else first.
Mhm.
So one of the things I tell clients is you have to take care of yourself first. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, you have to take care of yourself first, because if you don't, there won't be anything left of you to take care of anyone else.
Right. I say your bucket's empty.
Your bucket is empty.
And a lot of people, women particularly, come in with, well, and not saying that men don't, but since we see probably across the board more women than we see men,
True.
I find that they often come in with very empty buckets.
True. Absolutely. And, I was raised, well, where everyone else got put first.
Mhm.
And so I conducted my adult life like that.
Mhm.
And you're right, you become very depleted. And what happens when people are depleted, especially females?
Oh, all kinds of things happen. How much time do you have? Um,
As much as we want. It's our show.
in part, what happens is resentment emotionally,
Yeah.
anger, resentment, emotionally disconnected. Not to mention the physical, the fatigue, the excessive need to sleep, the gaining of weight
I sort of
because
say the excessive of anything, gaining weight, drinking,
yep,
gambling, shopping.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So nothing, I've not found anything positive that comes from an empty bucket.
No, you can't. I mean, there's just nothing. Decades ago, I was in church and I heard this pastor do this little illustration. And what he did was he said, imagine a 16-ounce styrofoam cup, and take a pencil and poke a hole in the bottom. And then you take a pitcher of water and just pour and pour and pour. What happens to the water? It drains out, and it keeps draining out and keeps draining out. And then he said, take another cup, same size cup, but it has a solid bottom. And you start pouring the liquid, and you pour and pour and pour. What happens to it?
It overflows.
It overflows. And we were designed to give out of our overflow, not out of our substance.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't meet our own needs first, we're giving out of our substance.
Mm-hmm.
And then all those other health issues, relationship issues, financial issues, all of those other things can be a result of giving out of your substance instead of out of your overflow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Some of the people that I see, though, come in with the 16-ounce styrofoam cup with a hole in the bottom of it, but there's nothing being poured in it.
That's even worse.
That's even worse. So they're continuing to try to give when their cup is totally
Bone
empty,
dry. Yeah.
bone dry. And they've done that for so long, they don't know. They don't know how to stop the bottom, and they don't know how to fill it up.
And so what do you share with them?
I share with them the 6 needs that for you to be happy. 4 of them need to be met but for you to be fulfilled, all 6 of them need to be met in some sort. of way. And you get to decide what those ways are. So let's go back to a previous video where you said you get to choose and you get to decide.
Mhm.
Well, if you stop and look inside long enough, you can figure out what puts water or substance in your cup.
Mhm.
And the beautiful thing is when you figure that out, you can decide when something begins to feel like it's running a little low. You now know how to do that for yourself rather than expecting someone else to do it for you.
And so, are you prepared to share what those 6 needs are?
Sure, I'll even tell you in a little bit of an embarrassing sort of way where I got them.
Okay. Good. Love embarrassing
The
things.
bulge, yes, I'll be vulnerable. Years ago, when I was doing my own work, I looked at some of Tony Robbins stuff. And of course, there's some snobbiness sometimes with therapists that you can't draw from people who are outside and not trained in their profession.
Bonk.
Bunk is right. So when I figured out how I wanted those met, then it gave me a whole lot of opportunity to respond rather than react.
Mhm.
It also gave me a whole lot of power because then I got to decide when it was running a little, when it was,
Mhm.
when it was running a little low in one way or another, that I had the knowledge and the tools to fix that for myself. So it was very empowering.
Sure.
So it kind of mirrors Maslow's hierarchy: safety and security, but on the other end, fun and excitement.
Okay.
So I look at those as teeter-totters for my personal benefit.
Mhm.
Fun and safety and security are here, fun and excitement's here. And the objective is to understand what makes up the definition of those for me, not for anybody else, and to decide whether my teeter-totter is tilted in one direction or another more.
Okay.
So in another video, I talked about my 5-year-old and being driven by our voices in our heads. Well, mine is tilted a little more. At the time, it was tilted a whole bunch more, that I needed safety and security more than I needed fun and excitement.
Sure.
Now it's a whole lot more balanced.
Mhm.
But to me, balance isn't necessarily the end goal.
Okay. What is?
The knowledge of knowing what those definitions are for me,
Sure.
and being able to know that when I start feeling something, I can check in and see which one of my needs are not being met.
And I like that what you said, because your definition of those things will be different than mine.
Right. Right.
And so I also like the part of, because one of the first videos we talked about was awareness.
Mhm.
How awareness is the key. And when you are aware of what these are, then you can know when you're not meeting them.
Right. You can know when they're not being met, and then you can know how to get them met,
Mhm.
how to meet them yourself. So I look at it as it goes back to that video of where you talk about we are the power, we have all the power
Mhm.
about ourselves.
Mhm.
It's not about other people. So if I get my needs met, then I don't need other people to necessarily meet them for me.
Okay, that brings up something. Are other people responsible for meeting our needs?
No.
Only time that is true is childhood.
Yes. Yes. But as an adult, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
And
I need you to survive, when you are the one who is responsible for my feeding and my care, keeping me healthy and keeping me fed.
well, and that goes back to what you said about your 5-year-old driving the car. And the 5-year-old, knowing she didn't know how to drive the car, she felt responsible for the adults, but she knew she didn't know how.
Yeah.
Which creates a whole nother set of problems, parentification and all those other things. But as an adult, that it creates codependency,
Mhm.
External locus of control instead of internal locus of control. It creates a whole host of other issues, whereas the empowering part is we have the ability to meet our own needs.
Mhm.
And if
So, is anyone else responsible for our happiness? Because that's the whole point. If I have the definitions and I know what it takes to meet my needs, then no one else is responsible for my happiness.
And so I want to clarify happiness a bit. And this is just the way I view happiness. Happiness is external, it's situational.
Okay.
For me, peace and contentment is my state of being. That's how I feel internally all the time.
Mhm.
Happiness comes and go. If I get something new, I got new slippers the other day. I'm
I
so
saw
excited.
that posted. New
I was,
shoes.
I was so excited about my new slippers. It's the small things.
Mhm.
There's always something to be grateful for. But as soon as the newness wears off, I'll still be grateful for the slippers, but I won't have happiness.
Okay.
So it's situational.
Yes, because I tell them there's 6 needs and you can meet 4 of them and be kind of happy, but you need to meet all 6 of them in order to be fulfilled. And
Content. I use
content,
contentment
same
like
thing.
you're using fulfilled. Yes.
Yeah.
So my state of being is contentment. I
Mhm.
am content in my life. Does it mean everything is exactly the way I want it? Absolutely not. That's why I use vision board. That's why I use imagery. That's why I use other tools so that I'm continually moving in the direction I want to go. But as I'm going there, I am content.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly.
And that's why taking care of myself first gives me the energy to be able to take care of others.
Right. They get the positive overflow rather than the negative
Yeah.
grain or whatever you want to call that, sludge or or
Yeah,
nothing.
because like you said, if the bucket is empty, there's nothing there.
Mhm.
And and this shows up in a variety of different ways. If you're not emotionally healthy, does it show up in becoming um just real I want to be careful how I say that, because it just shows up in a variety of different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of them not positive.
Right.
In fact, I can't think of a positive one in the bunch, but
And I don't know that, again, we've talked about this. I don't know that I was overtly told I had to take care of everyone else first.
no, it was by example.
Mine was actually in the opposite. It's that um, the caretakers were so self-absorbed that the children's needs didn't get
When
met.
I met, yeah, when I
We
met.
weren't a priority in a time where we should have been.
Mhm.
And so that was very selfish to me. And so I
Mhm.
never wanted to be selfish. So I always put myself last.
Mhm.
And what I,
Well, but selfish was in my particular situation, selfish was a bad thing. So you never wanted to be selfish.
Right. That was me. And so
you,
if I ever put myself first above the others, then I was in that category of what I was raised in.
Mhm.
And it was unhealthy.
Mhm.
It was not beneficial. And things happened in my life that shouldn't have happened, but just because of the place I was in.
Right. Right.
And so now I am peaceful and content with where I am as I'm moving the direction I want to go, because I know I can meet my own needs and I am empowered in that.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
So knowing your needs and knowing how you want them met, to me, is very important to self-care.
Sure.
You're
Absolutely.
always talking about self-care,
Mhm.
but a lot of people believe that stops with, or that's about pedicures and manicures and rest and
Which aren't
good.
bad.
No, they're not bad, but that's not enough.
It's not enough. It's not
It's
enough.
not enough.
Those are
And those
superficial.
are external. Those are not internal.
Yeah. Those are superficial ways.
Mhm.
Massages are great. You know, the benefits of a massage last in your body for 21 days. Hallelujah. But what are you doing internally?
Mhm.
If your internal state is out of control, and I just keep seeing kind of like this, you know, it doesn't matter how good your body feels if your internal state is not peaceful.
Right, exactly. Well, and those two things are tied together. So your body's not going to feel good if your internal state is dysregulated.
And if your body stays dysregulated long enough, then you're having
Dis-
physical ailments
Right.
and disease, dis-ease. Exactly.
Mhm. Yep.
Because, you know, the science shows that 90% of diseases are stress related.
Right. Mhm.
And when we're peaceful and content, I personally don't really feel stress. It doesn't mean I don't have situations where stress can rise because I have a timeline, but it's not my state of being.
Right. Yeah. And I know you've had a state of being
Uh,
where you lived in that state for quite a
long
while,
time.
and
Oh
I lived in that state for quite a while. That's what happens to single moms,
yeah.
is they live in that state of stress
Stress
pretty
and
much
survival.
24/7. Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. Survival. Mhm.
Yeah. And that definitely changes your receptor sites.
Mhm.
Yes. And I don't live
Also
that
makes
way
it
anymore.
difficult for you to choose whether you're going to respond or whether you're going to react.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's all interconnected.
It's all interconnected. So self-care goes much, much deeper than pedicures and manicures
Mhm.
or massages.
Yes. And, you know, I'm happy when I get a hair trim,
Me too.
but, you know, it lasts till the first time I have to wash it from the stylist washing it. Because who doesn't love a stylist washing your and drying your hair instead of yourself?
Yeah, and that head massage going on. Yep.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
But it also doesn't change my internal state.
Right.
Still peaceful and content. Yeah.
Right.
And like I shared earlier, you know, I lived so much of my life with a churning volcano inside.
Mhm.
And the amount of energy that kept that from exploding all the time. But now I just wake up like this. I'm just even. And I had a client that we did a lot of childhood trauma work on. Um, Current life was pretty chaotic. And so we did all this work, clients feeling better, discharged, and then I get a message from, I got to get in there and see you right now. I'm like, what's happened? And they came in and they started describing what was going on, and I just grinned. Why are you grinning at me? And what this person was describing is that they had lived so much of their life in chaos that now they were peaceful and content, and it wasn't familiar to them.
Right. So therefore it's uncomfortable if it's not familiar.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable, and I had to gain the ability to be comfortable with peacefulness instead of chaos.
New neural pathway.
New neural pathways. Exactly it. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a fun thing to be able to share with them. It's like, no, you haven't undone your healing work. You're just in a different state now.
Yeah,
You have to
you've
become
just
familiar
not
with it.
become comfortable with your new state.
Yep. All right. Anything else any nuggets of wisdom that you want to share, that you share with clients? Because I know you are wisdomful.
um, I think the other thing that I occasionally run up against and have to work with is a client, because I always ask a client how, when they were thinking about coming to counseling, what frequency did they have in mind?
Okay.
Because I want their buy-in.
Sure.
And so some people would say, I'll come twice a week if I can. They don't really need to come twice a week, but and then there are those people who say, I was thinking about once a month. And so I tell them that we have to start to build a new neural pathway, and once a month won't get us where we want to go, or where I think they want to go.
Not at all. Once a month won't do it.
But that's like saying I'm going on a diet, but I'm only going to eat well once a month.
Good luck.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
Report back how that worked.
Dr. Phil, how's that work for you in the past?
Working for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. The goal is to move to once a month and then be done, but you can't start there.
That's the end result, not the beginning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So
there
is
are
there
those.
anything else that you tell clients?
I'm sure there is. And as soon as we're finished, I'll go, oh, I should have said this. But, yeah.
Okay. So like and subscribe, and come back and see us again for Life Talk with Janice and Kelly. See you later, Kelly.
Okay. And what we're going to talk about next time is another book.
Oh, that's right. Your book.
My book. My book. Yeah.
Your book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come back for that. Kelly's book is interesting.
Why aren't you over this by now?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great title.
It wasn't mine, but we used it.
Still great title.
And it's because clients come in all the time and they say, I should be over this by now. No, you haven't done your work. That's why you're not over this. So yeah, come back and listen to that. All right. Yep. Thanks for your time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.